Hey, what's up, Musers? This is John at Muse for You, here to help you build awesome websites without code. And in this video tutorial, I'm going to go over the new update to the animated border menus widget. I've always really liked this widget, and I felt that it needed some new updates to kind of go more with the responsive design of the new release of the responsive design, as well as just add some more functionality to it so that you can really make the most of it in your Adobe Muse website. So I have an example site here that I've created, and here I have the animated border menus widget, and there's 5 menus, and I'm using menu number 5. So if I click on it, it's right up here in the upper left hand corner. I had to click on the browser here, but if I click on it, the menu pops up and we have the Muse for You logo in the center. So you can actually place any image you'd like on this section. So you can place your logo or just a picture or some words. And if you wanted to make this background completely one color so that there's no opacity and you can see the background behind, you can do that as well. So some new updates. This was, you could do this in the previous versions, but some of the new updates that I've added are some anchor point scrolling. So now in Adobe Muse, you can link your menu items to different anchor points on your Adobe Muse website. So for instance, I have section 1. If I click on it, we can see that the website scrolls to that section of the website. And then I have section 2, section 3, and I just use videos for this website, section 4, and section 5. So you can now link these menu items to different anchor points on your Adobe Muse website. And there was something else. Oh yes, you can also select how many menu items you would like in the menu. So here I have 6 menu items, but you can have like 2, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. In this one you can have up to 10. I would just kind of maybe recommend like 6 though, because it is fully responsive. So if I make the browser width smaller, we can see the menu there. And I forgot to change the fonts for the different breakpoints in Adobe Muse. So you can have different fonts for different devices, which is pretty cool. But the reason I said 6 is because I actually have it on a mobile device. If you look on a mobile device, depending on how big the mobile device is, if you have more than 6 or up to 10, the user might not be able to see all the menu items, but that's just kind of a design thing. And yeah, so for instance here I have it on my mobile device. So if I click on the menu, we see the menu there. And here it looks like we can have maybe a couple more menu items. We can have maybe 7. I did give the option for 10, so you can kind of play around with it and see how many menu items you'd like in the menu. You can also select how many menu items or how many icons you want in the bottom here. And here we're using Font Awesome icons, and I have updated the icons with the latest Font Awesome icons, and they've added a few lately to their set. So we can see here the menu is fully responsive, and if I click, we can see that it goes to those sections. Not sure why it just jumped there, but it goes to those sections, and it's fully it's fully responsive, and it goes to those anchor points on your mobile device. So it's a really fun menu. There's 5 different ones. I'm just going over number 5 right now. And so those are the updates, and there was a quick fix as well where the earlier versions of this widget were causing some of the elements in Adobe Muse to look different or change position. So that was fixed in this version. So it's a really great menu. I'm really happy with the update, and I think it could be very useful for your website. So I just wanted to make a quick video on it, and so now I'll just kind of guide you through the process of adding the widget. And it's very simple. I'm not going to spend too much time with it, but I'm going to go to File, New Site, and I'll click OK. And this is version 1.2. So if you have version 1.0 or version 1.1, this is 1.2. So you want to make sure that it says 1.2. So I'm going to go to my library panel. When you first install the widget, you get it in a zip file. So you simply unzip the zip file, then double click on the .mulib file, which is like you'll know it's like an icon and it kind of says .mulib, but you just double click on it and it will install directly into your library panel. So And one of the great things, and I'll show it in the widget, the reason I was able to update it and add all these different features is because the new option in the new release of Adobe Muse, it's widget scrolling. The new option is widget scrolling, so you can scroll in the widget. So I'm able to add all these great options and add more options just because you can scroll within the widget. So yeah, I'll get to the widget. Once you install it in the library panel, I'll open my library panel and I'll scroll down. If you don't see your library panel, you can just go to Window and click on Library, and it'll open the library panel. Excuse me, and I'll scroll down to the animated border menu. Let's see if I can say that right. Animated border menus widget 1.2. So I have here 1.2, and here we can see we have menu 1, animated border menu 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to use 5, and in the preview section you can kind of get a feel for the other menus. Those were using the other versions, but I'm going to be creating a new preview page so you can see the other pages and the functionality of those pages. So I have the animated border menus, menu 5, and if we look at the widget options, you can just click on the blue circle with the arrow to bring out the widget options, and here we have the widget options. And as you can see, I'm scrolling within the widget, so we can have we can look at all the options within this widget. So here we have the menu text. You enter the menu text, the menu URL, and the menu icon for those icons at the bottom, and the icon URL. And down here we have the scrolling option. Now this is pretty fun because you can set the scroll speed to the anchor, and you can also set an offset from the anchor point. So let's say you add an anchor and you say, okay, so I've added this anchor in this specific spot, and I'm not liking exactly where that anchor goes to when I click, I click a menu item and it goes to that anchor. I want it to be maybe a little bit before the anchor or a little bit after the anchor. So what's great about this option here in the scrolling, you actually don't have to move the anchors. You can just set a scroll to offset from anchor. Right here, there's this option. So let's say I wanted it 100 pixels before the anchor. I could enter in 100 here, and here in the offset before or after anchor, I can say before or after. So if you wanted 100 pixels before the anchor, you'll set it to before. If you wanted 100 pixels after the anchor, you'll set it to after. And then we have quite a few different easing options here. So we can actually make the anchor point have a different easing. And easing is just kind of like a, how can I explain it? Like the way it scrolls to the anchor. So you could have it like a more smoother easing. You could have like a bouncing easing. And I'll maybe go over that in more detail in another video tutorial, because there's a cool chart that you can look at that shows you the different easing. But you can play with this and just pick an easing that kind of works for you. I like kind of easing quad or easing quint, and the way it starts, it might start a little bit slower and then speed up at the end, and that's just kind of the different easing functions there. And I'll show more of this in this video tutorial. And you can set the scroll speed, so if you wanted to scroll to the anchor point a little bit slower, slower. If you wanted to scroll to it slower, you can set the speed higher. So this is in milliseconds, so 1000 milliseconds equals 1 second. So if I wanted it to be 1 second, I would just enter in 1000 here. So we'll set it to 1000. I'm just kind of explaining it, and I know I could probably demonstrate it here a bit more, so I'll do that. Initially, I'm just going to set a browser fill just to add some more styling to the background. So I have a bunch of images here, and let's select a really kind of nice one. Let's see. I could select the one that I used before, or let's do this one here, and we'll have it's kind of black and white, so we can play with the colors. Yeah, so there we have this black and white image in the background, and we've added the menu. So now if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and I click on the menu, we initially have the menu there. It initially has 5 menu items. If we wanted more menu items, we just go to the widget and we can set it to 10 even. So I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, click on it, and now we have 10 menu items. And then, so if you wanted to, like for desktop, you could have this menu and then maybe change the menu around. For mobile, have kind of a different menu, because on mobile, the user might not be able to see all these menu items. But if I had like 7, 7 would be good. And then on most mobile devices, you could preview it. So I click here, and if it's a mobile's like this, then it would be fine. So as we can see, this menu is fully responsive and it looks great. So we'll set it to 6. I like 6 menu items here. And here you can change all the colors. You can add the background image, so you can add your logo, and then you can set the size of the logo, how big you want it to cover the background, that menu background. So I've set it to 6 menu items, and I'll change the text. So maybe I'll say, I'll just do kind of how I had that first example. Home, section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, and section 5. Okay, and the great thing about this widget is that it uses the built-in features in Adobe Muse. So you don't have to go in the widget and change the text. You could actually just go to the text options here in Adobe Muse, or you could click here, this text panel. I'll click the text panel, and then here in the text, you could change it to anything. So if I change it to, let's say Industry Ink, we'll do that one. And then I can change the font size. I'll say 18. You might not want to go bigger than 18 because it might not look that great. And then I could even center that text in the menu. So right now, if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and I click on the menu, we can see that the font has changed, and the font is more to the left of the menu. If I wanted all the text centered, I can click on the widget and just click on the center, align to center here, the paragraph center. And then if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and I click, we can see the menu items are centered. And that looks really nice. We'll leave it like that for now. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I can cover. I believe we can change the vertical alignment too, and the leading, or no, we can't change the tracking here, but we can change the leading. But I think, that's fine, 120, or the position of the words there are good in the menu. So we'll just leave it like that for now. And the next thing I'll do is create different sections in this page so that we can see the anchor points. So to make this video, kind of go through this fairly quickly, I'm just gonna add a few different rectangles, different colors, so we can see the anchor points. So we'll have one there. I'll copy and paste, and let me take caps lock off there. And then I'll zoom out. I'll create another section. So essentially this is like creating a 1-page scrolling website. And then I'll create another. We'll put this here, just like that. And then I'll copy these 3 and paste it below. Okay, and I think we only need 5 for the sections. So we have 5 blocks there, and I'll just change the color of these other blocks. And let's do something like this, sure. And we'll do maybe this color here, or that looks good. Okay, so we have the 5 different sections, and now I'm gonna add an anchor point right above each section. So to add an anchor point, we'll go to the left here in this toolbar. With the new release, they now have the anchor point over here to the left. So if I click, let me see what that says. Okay, click to load. Okay, all right. I just saw like the place gun or something, but we'll click on the anchor point, and I'll place it right above this rectangle here, and I'll call this anchor 1. You could actually call this anything, but if we go to the widget, and let me zoom in a little bit, if we go to the widget, we see here in the menu item URL, it says anchor 1. So if you change this here to something different, let's say you called it section 1, you'd want to call the anchor point section 1. And never mind the hashtag actually has to be there here, but when you create the anchor, you don't have to have the hashtag in the anchor. But here in the menu items in the widget, you do have to have the hashtag at the beginning. So here it says anchor 1, so I'll just leave it at anchor 1, just to kind of go through this video tutorial. And to go through it a little bit quicker. And then I'll click the anchor point here again, and I'll place it here. I'll call this anchor 2, and we can leave it like that. And then I'll select the other anchor. I'll call this anchor 3. Select an anchor point. Click here, call this anchor 4. Select an anchor point, click here, and I'll call this anchor 5. Yeah, anchor 5. And just to make sure that it's all centered, I'll select all these elements. I'll go to my align tool right up here in Adobe Muse, and then I'll align center and make sure that it's aligned to content area so that it all aligns within the website, the page of the website. And then to make sure that it's equal spacing, I'll also distribute the spacing vertically. So I'll select align to selection, and this just aligns all the elements to themselves and not to the actual web page. So if I click align or vertical distribute spacing, we can see that all those elements get distributed equally, including the anchor points. And now if I wanted to move all these sections closer to the anchor point, I'll just select them all. I can hold shift and just move up with the arrow key, and this will just ensure that all these elements have the same spacing from the anchor point so that it looks cohesive within the website. So I'll add some more scrolling space here for this last one so that we can scroll up to the top for this anchor point number 5. And then the last anchor point I'm going to add is at the top. So I'm going to call this home, the home anchor point. And I'll just set it in the middle, and I'll go back to my Adobe Muse website. And then for anchor, for menu item 1 URL, I actually have to change it now because it's home. And then here I'll just say anchor 1. I'll hit tab to go to the next field. Tab, anchor 3, anchor 4, and anchor 5. Yeah, because we set the menu item 1, that menu item 1 URL to home, we just had to change the ordering of these other menu items. Okay, so that's basically it. And now if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, I'll go to the menu, I'll click on section 1. We can see it goes to section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, and section 5. Now if you notice, these menu items are on top of the menu. So if you're just creating one page website, a few ways around this is you can just right click, arrange, bring to front. And now if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and I click, we can see all those menu items are behind the menu, and it just scrolls to those different sections. And it's, yeah, really great there. So another thing you can do, let's say you have multiple pages and you're linking to internal pages, you can paste this on the master page. So if I hit Command X to remove it from this page, and I go to my plan view, go to the master page, and I hit, or I right click and I click paste in place. Now this menu is on the master page, and if I create another page, the menu will be on that page as well. So I'm on this blank page. If I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and I click, the menu is there. And to make sure that the menu is on top of all the other elements, I'm in the master page here. So I went to Plan, and I'll go to the master page. I'll click on the widget, and then in the Layers panel, if you don't see the Layers panel, you can just go to Windows and click on Layers, and it'll bring it up. So what I want to do here is create a new layer. So I'll click the New Layer option here, and it's this little icon that looks kind of like a piece of paper. And then we want to place the menu on this layer, on layer 2. And because layer 2 is above layer 1, this menu will be on top of all elements, because initially the elements here are on layer 1. So because the main menu is on layer 2 and it's above layer 1, the menu will be on top of all the other elements. So if I go to File, Preview Page in Browser, and I click, the menu is on top of all the elements. Okay, so the last thing I'll show, or maybe I could show a few other things, but I'll go back into the widget here on the master page, and let's say we wanted to change the easing. So a really not extreme example, but a kind of out there example is this ease in out bounce. So if I click on it, this changes the easing of the menu to the anchor points. So I'll go to File, Preview Page in Browser, I'll click on the menu, section 2, and we see that the scrolling kind of bounces before it gets us to the anchor point. So you can just have a lot of fun with this, get really creative, and some of the other ones aren't as extreme. I would say they're more fluid, but the bounce, is just kind of an extreme example. It's just one of the easing options, but you could do something a little bit smoother, like ease in. Let's do ease in quad, or ease in. Yeah, we'll do ease in quad here, and yeah, so we went over the scroll to offset. I went over that in the beginning, but just as another example, let's say we set the scroll to offset from the anchor to 300, and it's going to be before the anchor. It's in pixels, so we'll do like that. So now I'll go to plan view, I'll go to file, preview page in browser, and if I go to the menu, click on section 3, we now see section 3 is this green one here, but because we set it to 300 pixels before the anchor point, we can see, and I'll make this a little bit bigger here, we can see that it scrolls to 300 pixels before the anchor point. Same for 4 and 5. So now those elements are a bit lower in the website because the anchor point, it scrolls to 300 pixels before the anchor point. So I'm just going to change this real quick just to show you kind of the contrast. And I'll set this to 0 for the offset from anchor. And I'll go to file, preview page in browser. I'll scroll to the sections, and we can see those sections are now higher within the website, within the web page. So that's just kind of a lot of fun there, kind of a nice thing to be able to do, because rather than moving the anchor points within the website, you can just set the option in the widget, and it'll change the offset from the anchor. And you can do it before the anchor or after the anchor. And then here, I'll go to the master page. Here in the widget options, you do have the option of the menu icon. So, I could do like Facebook, or, there's just a lot of icons. And if you did want to see the individual icons, here I'll change it to Facebook for instance, and then I'll go to the plan view, file, preview page in browser, or I'll go to the preview page, and now this icon is of Facebook, and you can have excuse me, you can have between 1 and 4 different menu items here. Like yeah, it's kind of, now I have to switch to the master page, but let's say I wanted just 2 icons there at the bottom. We can just set it to 2 in the widget options, just here in the select amount of menu icons. And I'll go to the plan view, file, preview page in browser, and now if I go to the menu, we only have 2 down here, which is a nice feature, and you can kind of customize and just choose how many items or icons you want down here. You can choose between 1 and 4. Okay, so I've covered that, and yeah, the font awesome icons, if you did want to see all the icons, you can just type in like font awesome in Google, and then click here, font awesome, click on icons, or not examples, but icons, and here they have all the icons, and these icons are the same name within the widget, and you can just find these icons within the widget and use them for your menu here in Adobe Muse. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I would like to cover. Oh yeah, I'll link to internal pages. So let's say I wanted, let me go to the plan view, I'll call this page 1. Let's say I wanted to link the menu to, I'll go to the master page, I wanted to link a menu to that page 1. I'll just go to my widget options, and I'll set menu item 2 to that page. So to link to an internal page, you just do // and you do page, the name of the page, page 1 .html. And if there's a space in the name of the page, you just put a dash in between the space. So if I had called this page space 1, I would do page -1.html. And it's important to have this // in there. And so now if I go to the home page here, I go to file, preview page in browser, go to the menu, click on section 2, still goes to section 2. So let's see what happened there. So menu item 2 /page 1.html. Alright, so let's try that again. I'll go to file, preview site in browser, go to menu, section, oh, it's because I clicked on section 2. It's actually section, menu item 2 is called section 1. So if I click section 1, it goes to page, oh, and I'm just having a lot of fun here. So no space in here. So let's try that again. I'll go to plan, go to file, preview page in browser, go to the menu, click on section 1, and it takes us to that page. Let me just put an image in the page so that we can really make sure that it's going to that page. There we go. go to the home page, file, preview. And when you're working with internal pages, I know a few of you have asked me, when I click on the page, it says, page not found. But when you're working with, internal pages and you have multiple pages, to kind of test the website in your browser, you have to go to preview site in browser, not preview page in browser. In this way, Adobe Muse kind of renders or outputs all the pages, and you can go through all the pages in your website. So I'll click on the menu and I'll click on section 1, and it goes to that page, and then the menu is on there as well. Okay, and the last thing I'll cover, actually there was one other thing. You can link to external pages as well. And so let's say instead of anchor 2 on the menu item 3, I say Google. So I just type in http / and the name of the website and hit enter. And now I'll go to plan, go to file, preview page in browser, go to the menu, and I'll click on section 2, and we go to Google. So it's just as simple as putting in the domain. You want to put in http / and the name of the website. Okay, so that's we covered anchor points, internal pages, and external pages. And the last thing I'll show is how to add a logo to the menu. So we'll go into menus, and here where it says background image, I'll just click add file, and I'll select my Muse for You logo. And let's see how that looks. So I'll go to file, preview page in browser. So now when I click on I'll click on the menu, we have the logo there, and the menu just works like normal. Okay, and if you didn't want the user to be able to see the background of the website, you can just go to the widget, and I'll go to the master page, and with the opacity, background opacity, you can set it between 0 and 1. 1 would be fully visible, like the background color would just cover the website. So if I go to the home page and I go to preview page in browser, I click there, we can see we don't see the website anymore. But if I click section 5 and then I close the menu, it goes to that section. So that's just a lot of fun, and there it goes back to the home page. If I click there on Google, it'll go to Google. If I click on section 1, it'll go to that page. Okay, and because so if you notice, it didn't render. Yeah, so let's go back to file, preview site in browser, and we'll go to section 1. Yeah, so to re-render and make sure that you get the latest update of your current website or what you're working on, you just go to file, preview site in browser again. So that's a lot of fun. And if I notice kind of that logo is a little bit too big, so we can change the size here, and it's in percentage, so it's responsive, and I'll kind of preview that. So if I shrink the browser, the logo shrinks as well, and that's a lot of fun. You can put any logo you want in there and it'll be responsive. But let's say I wanted to make it a little bit smaller, let's say 25. I'll just change the image width, and it's in percentage. So I'll go to plan, I'll go to the home page, I'll go to file, preview site in browser, and click the menu, and we can see the logo is a little bit smaller, and it'll be quite small for mobile devices and smaller devices. But as you can see, it's a lot of fun. It can really add a lot of branding to your website, and it's just really great there. Okay, and one last thing I'll cover for this video tutorial is for the homepage. If you're linking to internal pages, you want to set the homepage to ./index.html. And that's for all home pages across the board. Doesn't matter what you name the homepage, it's always going to be ./index.html. And just as an example, we'll just preview the site in browser again. Preview site in browser. I'll go to the menu, click on home, brings us to the home page. Section 2 brings us to the second page, and I'll click back on home, and it brings us back to the home page. Because as you can see here, it says index.html, and all home pages are index.html in Adobe Muse, unless you change it like in your FTP server, which don't know how likely that is. But yeah, it's index.html for the home page. Page 2 is there. It's not going to go to the anchor point because we're on page 2. But if we go to the home page, section 5, it brings us to this section. Okay, and we go to the home page there. All right, and because it's not an anchor point, it just brings us directly to the home page. Okay, so yeah, if you have any questions with this, let me know. I know I've covered a lot of information in this video tutorial. I'm just really excited about this new update, and all my menus are going to have the scrolling option to it so that you can scroll in Adobe Muse. I'm also coming out with an anchor point scrolling widget so that no matter what menu you use in Adobe Muse, you can set the scrolling options to anchor points. So if you want the scrolling options to be slower, you can do that in Adobe Muse, and just kind of have scrolling for the anchor points that way, and set all the easing options there and the offset scrolling for the anchor points. So that'll be a lot of fun. You can play with the scrolling in Adobe Muse, and I have some really great menus coming out very soon, and I'm going to be really excited to put those in the shop and make videos on those to show you how to use those. So that's the new update to the animated border menus widget. I've actually placed it more at the top in the shop. So if I go to museforyoushop.com, hit enter, and you can click on the pop-up here, and here you can get access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. And you can also use PayPal by clicking here to subscribe. So I've placed the animated border menus widget right up here at the top, and I've also added the update. The changelog is here, and here are the different updates that I've added to the menu. And here are the different features: 5 fully responsive animated border menus, customize all colors in the menu, add your logo or image on menu open, select how many menu items you would like in the menu, link to anchor point, in the menu, link to anchor points, internal pages and external pages, set the scrolling speed to anchor points, and add scroll easing when scrolling to anchor points. And I've updated it with the latest font awesome icons as well. Here are the updates. Fixed issue where it was causing elements to look different or change position, added option how many menu items, and so on. I've already covered that in the video and kind of read it up here as well. But basically that's it. And if you wanted to purchase this widget individually, you can just simply click on add to cart to purchase individually. And if you'd like access to all widgets and any new widgets I come out with, you can click here and get access to all widgets, and any new widgets I come out with for $39 a year. So that's pretty much it for this video tutorial. Again, it's a really great menu. It's fully responsive, and if you wanted to use breakpoints, it would still be fully responsive, and you can change the text across the breakpoints for the menu if you wanted to. It was fully responsive, works with breakpoints, and you wouldn't even have to change it for the breakpoints because it's already responsive. But you can change the website and have the menu work with the different breakpoints in the website. So that's pretty much it. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. You can leave them in the comment section, and you could even leave it here in the community section of the widget, and I will get back to you. I'm having a lot of fun right now creating these menus and widgets, that's pretty much it for this video tutorial. Again, I do this to help you build awesome websites without code. If you like this video tutorial, you can subscribe below. Also in the show more section below are links to other resources and links to museforyoushop.com. So again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Thank you.